Iqbal family, I'm really sorry, but like I said in the reel, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Welcome, my dear brothers and sisters, to the first episode of the Muslim Charity Guidebook series. This episode is called Do Not Donate to Human Appeal. Now, I didn't want to single out a charity on my first video, but after the recent Khalid Baidoun scandal and him taking over $2 million, I thought it was fitting to use my expertise over the last decade that I've been working in this sector to speak about human appeal, because there's many different transgressions that they have. Khalid Baidoun and his scandal is just one part of it. So inshallah ta'ala, I hope that this will be an informative episode, and it's going to be split into 6 key rules. And before anyone gets defensive or emotional, I want you to apply that standard to all charities, even my charity. No one should be free from criticism. We need to raise the standard, because ultimately we want the ummah to win. When I went to Gaza and I've seen the bloodshed with my own eyes, it changed me as a person. And then when I see people who are profiteering either as social media personalities, they're increasing their followings, or they're financially profiting from the blood of our brothers and sisters, it hurts. Wallahi, it hurts, because I know we can do so much better. So, without further ado, let's rethink charity and let's get into rule number 1. So rule number 1 is, if they don't fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when they collect your charity, when they collect your donations, why are you surprised when they don't fear Allah in distributing your donations? Let me repeat that for you. If they don't fear Allah when they collect your donations, then why are you surprised that they don't fear Allah when they distribute your donations? This is a very important thing to think about, my brothers and sisters. Now me, personally, I like to have a laugh and a joke. I like to have fun. You'll see me doing maybe, some comical things if you follow some of my pages. But when it comes to worship, when it comes to ibadah, I simply cannot have it. If we look at human appeal, the way that they raise funds, they have music concerts, free mixing, comedy shows, all of this kind of stuff. And I know people are going to be watching this and some people are going to disagree with what I'm saying. And this is probably going to be one of the most maybe discussed or disagreed points from the 6. But I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, if we want there to be barakah in something, if we want our brothers and sisters to benefit in the end and for their lives to become better, then the way we begin this act needs to be pure and it needs to be good. Even these big gala dinners and all of these things that we are doing that show opulence, is that really the best way? And Human Appeal are not the only ones who do these gala dinners, by the way. Is this really the best way to, garner donations? So you're going to see a lot of these things coming up on the screen, what Human Appeal have been engaging in. And it's one of those things where ask yourself the question, would you go to a nightclub and read Quran? No, you wouldn't. So then why is it when it comes to zakah, which is a pillar of Islam, we're happy to go to a concert, we're happy to have Atif Aslam singing like you'll see for Human Appeal and other singers. I could even potentially, even though I don't agree with it either, some Sami Yusuf, some Islamic nasheeds and stuff, okay, fine. But full out music, full out shows, free mixing, screaming and shouting, where's the boundaries? And this is something that sadly we don't see with Human Appeal. So let's move on to rule number 2. Rule number 2 says we should donate because of what has been done, not because of who is asking. Right? We donate because of what has been done, not because of who's asking. And sadly, when you look at Human Appeal and you look at most of these marketing third-party corporation charities, most of the donors donate because of who is asking. So the influencers that they use, that they pay big sums for, and all of these people, because people can relate to them. And I understand. You see these people on social media, you see them, they let you into their lives, they do makeup, they do, behind the scenes, what a day in the life and all of this kind of stuff. We feel close to these people and connected to these people, and we feel that these people couldn't possibly betray us. And now, what I'm saying is, majority of these people, I don't think that they're bad actors. But what has been created, this architecture, this ecosystem that has been created by these corporation charities, where now they have all of the charities fighting and openly courting imams, sheikhs, da'is, makeup artists, everyone is being courted, and this profit-based sharing model is set up, so people already have a piece of the pie, even if before they come to your gala, even before they come and do your fundraising event, they already contractually have a percentage before it's even reached the people of Gaza. It's crazy. And this has even seeped into our masajid, where you have imams who are asking for prices. And this simply has to change. What are we teaching our youth? Sadaqah and zakat is supposed to be about giving for the sake of Allah, not being a part of this and then wanting something in return. And sadly, that is what we have created. And now many people are going to say, well, imams are badly paid and scholars and that's a different topic. Yeah, you're right, they are badly paid, and we need to find ways to support our imams and sheikhs so that they are not gagged by the mosque committee or the charities. Inshallah, I'm going to be doing another video about that, explaining how the sector has gagged our community, and that has massive drastic effects. And Human Appeal and these charities are a massive part of creating this system, and we have to ask the charities, how much are you paying these influencers, and if it's right. And that's why we need to rethink charity. Rule number 3 is zakat is an Islamic obligation. So like I explained previously, it must be like I explained previously, it's a ibadah, it's a form of worship, it's a pillar in Islam, so it has to be under scholarly guidance. So I'm going to bring up on the screen now Human Appeal's website. If you go to the website, you'll see they have a zakat policy. But who is the zakat policy signed by? It's signed by their CEO. Now that's definitely a conflict of interest, number one. The person who is the implementer is also the person who is writing the Islamic rules. Secondly, the zakat policy is very, very broad. We in the sector need to raise the standard. How many people that we're giving our zakat to, when have you, the donor, ever asked a charity, are the people who are distributing our sadaqah and zakat, have they been trained in any of the classical sciences? Fiqh al-sadaqat, fiqh al-zakat. Okay, now we're guilty of this as well. This is a process that we're going through right now with Iqra Charity. We're training all our staff. We're building courses so that they can learn this fiqh. It strengthens the whole organizations. Alhamdulillah, we have a board of scholars that are involved in the charity. And that's the next question. You'll see many charities, and then you'll see a scholar, you'll see a da'i, and they'll be saying, donate to this charity, they're doing great work. They're advocates. But you, the donor, needs to ask these charities, how many of you charities actually have students of knowledge, scholars on your board as trustees, or people who are involved in the implementation and overseeing of how the sadaqah and the zakat is being distributed? So when you, the donor, give your money to someone like Human Appeal, if they don't have these things and you haven't asked, then don't be surprised. Let's move on to rule number 4. Audit before you trust. Now I'm going to bring up on the screen the Charities Commission website. Guys, all of you can go on the Charities Commission website if you're in the UK, and you can see basic numbers. Of course, here there's many tricks of the trade that charities can use to conceal some of their numbers, but still there's some figures here that are alarming. And so when we look at Human Appeal, we can see that last year they had £90 million of income. 62.96 million of that was spent on charitable activities, and that's debatable because again, we've got to monitor and measure the product, right? 15.38 million on fundraising. So 15.38 million was spent on fundraising, 4.92 million on other. Where that other is, what that is, Allah knows best. And then 6.74 million was left over. So if we look at that as percentages, around 70%, 69% was spent on charitable activities, and 31% was spent on marketing or other, and some was left in their bank, right? And that's similar to what they paid Khalid Baidoun, 30%. So is this a standard policy for Human Appeal, that 30% of your donations are being used for marketing and admin and etc.? And when we look at that, from 90 million, that's 27 million pounds, my dear brothers and sisters, that should be going to poor people. Yes, I understand there's admin fees. I'm not an advocate of 100% donation policy, but this is preposterous. This is extortionate. And this is why, again, scholarly oversight is very important. Who regulates how much admin is being taken? Who regulates how much can be spent on fundraising? And now, Human Appeal recently released a video. Brother Zahir, he's one of their managers, and he said, we only use your unrestricted funds.
Importantly, the funding provided to the research centre came exclusively from Human Appeal's unrestricted funds.
Now this is jargon, this is charity jargon. That basically means we used your general sadaqah donations to pay for the $2 million that we gave to Khalid Baidoun. And the saddest thing is, it's not just Baidoun. Allegedly, Khabib was paid close to $750,000 for 3 appearances. You've got other people, even if you look at the slip where everyone's seen the $2 million for Khalid Baidoun, there's this Rosie Pirana, she got paid a big amount. This Abu Nar, who is this Sheikh Abu Nar, who is, supposed to be an Islamic speaker. I don't know if that's him, but maybe it is, and maybe Human Appeal could clarify this, also got paid big money for his fundraising efforts. So this 30% went to Baidoun, and that's before the costs of getting the work done and even reaching Gaza. And inshallah, I'm going to be doing a video on the fallacy of the 100% donation policy and costs, and how projects need funding and how Islamically that's justified. But this 30% before they even started implementing, this is absolutely insane, my dear brothers and sisters, and we have to call it out. Let's move on to rule number 5. And this one really irks me, really upsets me as an activist, as someone who tries his best to command the good and forbid the evil. Rule number 5 is we give our money to help the oppressed and not to support oppressors. And Human Appeal are a charity who are a corporation. They are big bullies. And the worst thing is they are using your money to bully people into submission. And people are afraid. So let me give you the example of a sister called Tay. She wrote a Muslim charity comparison guide, right? That's all she done. And she went on the Charities Commission website. She got all the figures that were on there, put them up, and basically Human Appeal's lawyers from New York contacted her straight away. Then their lawyers from London contacted her, and she was shocked. The sister was shocked, She says that was very heavy-handed. Why couldn't they just have informally spoke to me? And she was forced to put out apologies on her social media and retract her statements, etc., because she was afraid of being sued. And whose money is being used? Maybe the 4.92 million, that is the other on the Charities Commission website, Human Appeal, is being used for lawyers and for you to bully the small Muslims. Well, let me tell you something, guys. Why don't you try and bully me? And let's see how far you get with that. Rule number 6. Implementation must be strong. And I assume most of you are probably here for this video. Iqbal family, I'm really sorry. But like I said, in the real, your Sadaqah Jariyah has expired. And that's because you decided to use Human Appeal, who are a third-party fundraising charity. If you read the Muslim Charity Guidebook, you'll see that they're a marketing company. That's all they do. And then they get your amana and they give it to somebody else. In this case, they gave it to Turkish Kızılay, the Turkish Red Crescent, who are a transit charity in Turkey. And the Turkish Red Crescent most likely used another implementation charity. So it went from Human Appeal to Turkish Red Crescent and then to another charity who built your project. And that's why when you see these drone shots that are taking place now, and you look at the project in Kafr Jalis that I visited, it's so sad that millions of dollars of the Ummah's money was spent on a project like this, and implementation is going to be poor. If we take away all 5 of the previous rules and everything I've said about Human Appeal, right, and all the money that's been taken before implementation that's happened, now I'm talking about the 69% that they're spending on implementation. The reality is, that's also terrible. So you guys, like the Iqbal family that thought you were getting a Sadaqah Jariyah for your loved one, didn't. you've got an empty shell, a ghost village. And this is just one of the projects that we know about. So, my dear brothers and sisters, we need to raise the standard. We need to really connect with the charities. We can't be giving emotionally. If we look at the Zionists who are killing our brothers and sisters in Gaza, they are very calculated, yet we are emotional. So this is why I'm asking you, and I know these videos are not going to bring me any friends, but I'm here to speak the truth in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't even want you to donate to my charity, okay? You don't need to donate to Iqra. This is not what this is about. What our work is about is giving you, the donor, like I said, the tools to be able to ask the right questions so that inshallah ta'ala we can get our amana to those that need it, those that are dying, those that are being genocided. And I hope I've made my points very clearly. Inshallah ta'ala, I ask you guys to make dua for me. I hope this episode's been informative, and inshallah ta'ala stay tuned for episode 2, where inshallah I'm going to be breaking down many other things. There's so many topics that I need to discuss, and if any of you want to reach out to me, you can email me at tox@iqracharity.org. Any questions that you have, and inshallah I hope that I can respond